So for our second question, which is sort of a big one, data and research shows that family care disproportionately falls to women. Can you share some experience, strategies, or models that can help inform women as they try to navigate and balance their lives? And Lori, do you want to kick off with that?
Sure. You know, when it comes to elder care, often people think that the majority of care for the elderly happens in nursing homes. And in fact, the bulk of care is provided by family and friends. So in Minnesota, about $7.5 billion a year equivalent of care is provided by family members. And this well exceeds the state's medical assistance budget. And so, you know, it's from a policy perspective, it's very important that we look at ways that we can continue to support families in their caregiving role. The majority of family caregivers still are female. 1 in 5 adults provide care to an older person, and that caregiver is providing care for an average of 5 years and at about 22 to 27 hours a week. So think of it as another part-time job on top of everything else that you're doing. And so when you couple all that together, you know, I think one of the biggest things that caregivers need to do for themselves is to take care of themselves. And I think that's whether you're raising children and you're caring for your children, or you're caring for a parent or a spouse. Compassion fatigue is real, and people need to be aware of the signs of that. You know, poor sleep, headaches, anxiety, feeling guilt or irritability. Those are all signs of compassion fatigue. And it's just important that you take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of somebody else the best to your ability. And so, you know, once again, reach out to the resources that are out there. And for family caregivers of an older adult, one of the best resources that is out there is across the state, area agencies on aging fund caregiver consultants. And they are social workers and nurses who can meet with family caregivers either in person. Right now, most of it's happening virtually though, and work one-on-one with that family caregiver to help them through their journey of caregiving experience. So it's not one time session, but they will help facilitate a family meeting to help that dialogue of sharing that caregiving responsibility, to helping somebody understand if they're caring, for example, with somebody with Alzheimer's. They will be able to help them understand what stage that person is in right now, and how to deal with, for example, behavior management or sundowning and that. And so, you know, just encourage people to tap into the resources that are out there, just to create a balance within their own lives.
Great, thanks, Lori. How about you, Deborah?
Yeah, so thanks for popping a study I did before I came to the Children's Defense Fund. I was at the University of Minnesota, and I did some work specifically looking at access to pay while on leave for FMLA reasons across rural areas of the state of Minnesota. And, you know, like we've been talking about, I think it's important to acknowledge that actually in many rural counties, the need for leave to deal with caregiving responsibilities across the lifespan, again, from a new baby to elder care, like Lori was talking about, actually the needs are higher in many rural counties for a variety of reasons. And at the same time, what we know is access to family-friendly workplace benefits are less prevalent in many rural counties. And so this kind of creates a perfect storm and a difficult challenge for families. So I do think that there are models across the country, and we have been working on that in the state of Minnesota to have a paid family and medical leave program in the state of Minnesota that would address both of those things, the fact that there's a greater need for people to take leaves and a greater need for financial support while people are taking these leaves to deal with caregiving responsibilities, again, across the lifespan. So I'll leave it there because I know we're running out of time, and maybe come back to that a little bit when we get to the last question.
Wonderful, thanks. How about you, Nancy? Oh, we've got you on mute still.
Sorry.
There we go. There we go.
But just, you know, my experience from being a stay-at-home mom, I mean, I haven't been at home for very long, but, you know, I grew up in a household where my first younger years, when I lived in Texas with both my parents, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So, you know, our mothers teach us, or, you know, our guardian teaches you, you know, how to prepare just for the home setting, you know, and just for the future. So I just thank my mom for being there and just showing me, guiding me through the way of, you know, how to take care of the household. You know, but when we moved up to Worthington, to Minnesota, you know, she had to work. But with that, you know, this is very new to me, so I did struggle at the beginning. And there's still some days where, like, you know, do I matter? You know, and am I just as important as I was when I was working for someone, you know? But I had to turn my mindset and be like, no, I'm building a legacy. Like, these are my children. Like, their education is important. And I just have to take this opportunity that God has given me and just appreciate this time, you know. There's, I don't know, maybe down the line I'll go back to work when my 10-month-old was able to go to school, you know, or maybe I'll just decide to stay at home. But, you know, just like no one gave us a manual to raise children or for this life. So, I mean, this is something that I think, you know, God created beautiful, strong, powerful women in this earth to be able to handle this, you know, but with that, self-care does come in, and it is very important. I mean, the things I've learned is just, you know, to make time for myself. And I notice now that I'm not rushing all the time while when I was working, you know, so now I have a little bit more time for myself, my children, and, you know, I've learned just to have a routine, take a 30-minute walk, and try to connect. My goal is try to connect with women who are in the same situation that I am. But now I'm gonna have to learn how to build relationships within my community while being here at home and not actually having a work area where you have to reach out to your community or have that connection already. You know, it's you know, and I'm gonna have to, you know, the best way is just to, you know, go to your local library. You know, take advantage of your resources in the community. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nancy. How about you, Mary?
Yeah, I think I can piggyback on a lot of what the rest of the women have said. On a business side, I know we've already started chatting about childcare with Dee, and you know, geez, I wish I had a webinar like this when I started 10 years ago, because I was figuring everything out for myself. And as a matter of fact, it probably wasn't. There was some there, but I certainly didn't know where to go to. So yeah, I mean, when you think all these, there's grants and in your local communities, in your local regions for Child Care Aware Minnesota, through in our region, you know, there's CAP-LP, so that's a community action partnership, Lakes and Prairies. And First Children's Finance has been really integral as far as the business side, and really helping individuals realize, hey, you're a businesswoman or you're a business person, and yes, you're a caregiver, but it doesn't mean you have to settle for less. That's not what that's not what it means. And then as far as the notes down, when Lori said compassion fatigue, I think of that a lot with early caregivers as well. I didn't know there was a word, so thanks, Lori. I'm gonna look that up. But in our care, we have Lutheran Social Services comes and will meet with our teachers in our area of Village Mental Health. There's Child Care Where Minnesota I think that's the right organization that supports it, has free services for individuals to meet on a weekly basis. And right now they're meeting on Zoom, and it's amazing. And just to teach and support and model to people that, like Nancy said, you have to take time for yourself, and it's okay to feel stressed and worn down, but you need to figure out how to take care of yourself to get back in the game, right? And then on the local part of it, finding those community support systems that can help you enhance. In our program, we work with the local museum to help with different cultural studies and history studies. We work with community organizations that are, they come and read and give books to kids. They, I'm part of Rotary, so that's a huge children and literacy donator. So, you just be involved in things that make you feel good, and then also help you get what you need to help you succeed.